Good morning. My name is Tara. I'm coming to you from Upper Michigan. This is a channel about knitting and making and anything I might be getting up to over the past couple weeks since I've seen you last. You have something cozy to drink. I'm just enjoying a black coffee today, as per usual. Every once in a while I switch it up, but my most common drink is going to be the black coffee. So I've been trying to focus on a few projects to try to get a few off the needle, but I do only have one finished object today, which you probably could guess if you've been tuning in, and that is my socks that I've been knitting for my son. These are just vanilla socks. I knit them on a 40-inch Chalgu needle, 2.25 millimeter. I did 20 rounds for the cuff and I think about 60 for the leg, heel flapping gusset, and just did the wedge toe. Kitchener stitched them together, and this was a Wolvian yarn that I picked up at a local yarn store in Wisconsin, Deep Here, Wisconsin. So yeah, I'm putting these away for my son for either his birthday or Christmas. He's an October baby, so we'll see. It'll just be an add-on for one of his gifts, I'm sure. So then finishing one project, I ended up casting on 2 more projects. But first, let's talk about projects I've already had on the needles previously. So we'll go ahead with my next pair of socks, which are my Packer socks. And so I had one finished last time I podcasted, and I just barely had the cuff started, and honestly this did not get too much love this week, but just using a variety of green yarns that I had in my stash, sock yarns, some of them I dyed, and yeah, so it's just kind of, I haven't had a lot of time to do much fiddly knitting, and when I did, I've been working on what I'm going to talk about next, and that is my Florelae top. I really want to have this to wear, so I have been working on it, but it is a fingering weight / sport weight yarn, so it's taking a bit of time, and I do have to still look at, and I will until I finish it. I have to look at the chart. I envy people who can memorize lace like this, but it's not me. But let me turn it around and I can show you where I was last time. Yep, so right where the stitch marker is there, right here is where I was last time, and I do have it on a shorter circular cable, so which makes it easier for knitting in the round, but it's all scrunched in. So yeah, I think I've gotten good 4-5 inches underneath the armpit, and once I joined in the round, which I think I had just joined in the round last week, so I'm happy with the progress. I wish it was a little further, but we'll keep working on it, and before we know it, it'll be ready for the finishing touches. So again, this is being knit out of Moonspun wool. It's a 90-10 superwash merino linen in the colorway clay, and that's hand dyed. and the shop is local to me in Upper Michigan. Okay. So I needed a project I could take on the go, and the lace top is not it, and neither are the striped socks with all the different yarns. So I grabbed a couple sock yarns and I cast on, and I got this far. So I think I'm just over 40 rounds for the leg. I don't know how many, I think I might have did 25 rounds for the cuff. There's about. It seems like a lot more than that, but I guess I counted and it's 25. And then I'm going to do the heels and toes in this lovely yarn that I hand dyed. It's just on a sock base from Wool to Die For. I think it's their Punta 75-25, and it is a pretty, I find a pretty thin fingering weight, but it does seem to wear pretty well. I think I would prefer something just slightly more plump. So I may look into that next time. I like to have at least, well, several skeins of sock yarn in my stash undyed. So, because I like to have fun dyeing with I do use the professional acid dyes, and you have to have a mask and everything when you use those, when they're in powder form. So every once in a while I'll dabble with that. I love supporting other artists and buying hand-dyed yarn as well, and commercial yarn. I like it all. So that leads me to the final thing I've been working on, and that is a new cast on. And I'm pretty sure I'm going to be invited to a baby shower coming up here this fall. So I found this yarn on clearance at Walmart, and I cast on this baby blanket, and I'm going to go ahead and look up the pattern. I forgot to do that before I got started. And let's see here. But if I know me, I have a Ravelry tab open, so you know. Alright, so this is a free pattern on Ravelry. It is the Sweet Pea Baby Blanket by Suzanne Middlebrooks, and it is a very easy 4-row repeat, and I've just been having fun knitting away on it. Let me grab but yeah, that's what it looks like there. And this is just the Lion brand, a respun 100% recycled polyester in the color Blush Rose. And this is a worsted weight yarn, and it comes with 658 yards, so I probably will have enough to, I picked up 3 skeins. It was like $2 off, so it was like just under $5 per skein for me, which I love the color. I mean, I like that it's machine washable, so it'll make great baby gifts. And I thought I do want to knit an Afghan of some sort, and I thought, well, if I have leftovers, I can always put it towards that project. So we'll see. I'm still researching patterns. I'm not sure if I would want to knit or crochet. There's so many beautiful granny square patterns and stuff like that. If you're working on an Afghan that you would recommend, probably to be scrappy, but I would like to have, maybe pick up some cream yarn for some continuity or something. Let me know if you know of a good pattern. I'm open to knit or crochet. It would have to be worsted weight, I think. Or I do have a lot of sock yarn scraps too, so I'm not sure what is the equivalent of fingering weight. I don't know if you can come up with that unless you held a sport, I suppose, but I don't have a lot of sport with acrylic. Anywho, that is down the road, so we will see. And I do have an acquisition to show you. So I was put in a knit picks order, and I am going to knit the ship shape out of these 2 colors in cotton linen from Knit Picks. And this is a DK weight yarn that is 70% cotton, 30% linen. Oh, what's the matter, kitty? 70% cotton, 30% linen. And this will be my main color, and this will be my contrast color. So that will probably be my very next cast on. But you never know. I mean, the baby blanket just and another pair of socks just kind of popped in there. So we don't know what's going to happen. But then I also picked up for the framed sweater by Andrea Mowry. I have some of this Junction Fiber Mills in my stash already that I'm going to use for the contrast color. So I needed a main color and then another contrast color for the collar and cuffs. So that is my contrast color, and this is going to be my main color. This is Bahram U Wood Note DK. It's a blue face Leicester and mash and blend, and yeah, it's 204 meters, 223 yards per 100 grams, and it just feels amazing. I'm so excited to cast this on. So I think this might be my first fall sweater cast on, but I do have some things that I need to finish up before I'm going to let myself cast on another sweater. So help me help me hold my word on that. So that was that. I did pick up 1 ball of their Stroll. Here it is. Also in cider, and I thought that would be great contrast color for some fall socks. So I was actually thinking of doing some color work socks, but I don't know. I don't know if I will. I love them, and I would love to have a pair. I would love to make a pair for my sister. But I am a little nervous about getting the color work over my heel and still having this sock fit well. I don't want it to be too loose around the ankles once you get it on. So I love having the plain sock to knit on my needles. It's my on-the-go project, so I'm not sure that I want to cast on a super involved sock. Perhaps if my whip pile got to a manageable amount, it wouldn't seem like such a terrible idea, but I'm gonna try to hold off on that for now and just work on some plain socks so I have that little break in between for my color work and my lace knitting projects right now. Well, since I've talked about books, so I figured I'd come on since I've had a few finished now. I did finish Midnight at the Blackbird Cafe by Heather Weber, and this was cute. It was a warm, cozy book. There's some magic involved, some family secrets, a small town. It was a pretty feel-good read, so if you're into this and think it might be interesting, it kept me enough to keep it reading to the end, so I would recommend. Okay, and then I also listened to the audiobook Atmosphere by Taylor Jenkins Reid, and that is it was a very emotional book, and it was set against NASA's program when they first allowed females into their program, and yeah, it was a very emotional read, and I would highly recommend that one. I really enjoyed it. Then I am also reading, and I'm a little over halfway through, with The Dead Romantics by Ashley Poston. And this is very entertaining so far. I'm really liking it. It's Florence is the main character, and it's kind of a mix of romance and grief, and there's a little bit of humor. Yeah. So I think it's ultimately a love story, but it's very entertaining, and I would recommend this one as well. Alright, so please let me know if you have any book recommendations. You've kind of seen most of the type of books I like to read, but I like a little bit of everything. Oh, I also did finish Circe by Madeline Miller, and that was a very good read as well. It kind of tied right into, it's kind of the supernatural, the world of Greek gods, and Circe is a, I guess she's kind of a goddess, a witch goddess, and so it was, I really enjoyed that as well. I was reading it for quite a while, and I picked the last little bit up and I finished it off, and it was great. I would highly recommend that, especially if you plan on seeing the Odyssey. I did get to, my daughter and I went to the movies to see the Odyssey shortly after I finished that book, so I really enjoyed it. Circe is in the Odyssey. She doesn't play a big role, but yeah, it was a great movie, great book. Highly recommend. So if you have any book recommendations, please comment below. I'm happy to look up anything you might recommend, and yeah, so thank you so much for joining me today. I hope that you have a great rest of your day, and I appreciate you leaving a comment below. Please like and subscribe, and I will see you next time. Have fun knitting!